In 2018, a college student named Daniel moved into a small apartment in Ohio where the rent was unusually cheap, almost suspiciously low, but he didn't think much about it at the time because the landlord barely asked any questions and simply handed him the keys with a strange warning, telling him not to stay up too late, which Daniel ignored as a joke and went on with his night like everything was normal. But later that same night at exactly 2:14 a.m. he suddenly woke up, not from a dream but from a strange sound coming from right above his ceiling, something slow and unnatural, like a heavy object being dragged across the floor, and as he looked at the clock and saw the time he whispered to himself that it was probably just rats and tried to go back to sleep. But the next night the exact same thing happened again at the exact same time, only this time the sound felt different because it wasn't just dragging anymore, it sounded like slow footsteps moving across the ceiling as if someone was walking directly above him, which made no sense at all. So the next morning Daniel went upstairs to complain, but when he reached the top floor he stopped because there was no apartment, no door, nothing except an old dusty attic that was locked from the outside, and when he asked the landlord about it the man hesitated for a moment before quietly saying that no one had been up there for years, which made Daniel feel uneasy but not enough to leave, at least not yet. So that night he decided to stay awake and watch the ceiling, waiting for the sound to come back, and as the clock slowly moved toward 2:14 a.m. the entire room felt heavier, the silence growing louder with every second until suddenly a loud bang hit the ceiling above him so hard it made him jump, and right after that everything went completely still for a moment before he heard something that made his blood run cold, a voice, weak and broken, barely sounding human, whispering just one thing, asking for help, and at that exact moment Daniel didn't think twice, he grabbed his keys and left the apartment immediately without looking back, and the next day he reported everything to the police who later opened the attic and found nothing but old furniture, broken boxes, and deep scratch marks covering the floor as if something had been dragged again and again for years. But what made no sense was that the attic had no windows, no second door, and no possible way for anyone to get in or out, and yet even today people who live in that building still claim that every single night at exactly 2:14 a.m. they can hear something slowly dragging itself across the ceiling, just waiting to be noticed.